Hello everyone, welcome to PUC Online Classroom. Today we are moving on to Unit 15, There Should Be a Law. So we know that law is very important for every country. So without law, there will be lots of problems, right? So we need to have this and we must obey the laws, okay, no matter what. So now let's take a look at the first activity and the snapshot. It's against the law. So we are talking about some countries, okay? So we have in the United States and Canada and the other countries, okay? So now let's begin with in Arizona. You may go to prison for 25 years if you cut down a saguaro cactus. That is the cactus. So if you cut down this one in Arizona, then you will be in jail for 25 years. So don't try that. In New Britain, Connecticut, fire trucks must travel at 25 miles per hour even when going to a fire. So it means that you cannot go beyond even there is a fire, okay? That is in New Britain. Okay, that is the law. In the state of Washington, it is illegal to pretend your parents are rich. Then if your parents are poor and then you pretend that your parents are rich, then there will be a problem. Okay, I don't know how serious the problem is, but it is illegal. Okay, in Canada, 35% of radio broadcasting time must have Canadian content. So 35% of radio broadcasting time must contain Canadian news or information, so that you cannot do more than this. I'm sorry, less than this. Must certify. Okay, it is important. In other countries, in Switzerland, it's an offense. Offense means a crime. So it is a crime to hang clothes out to dry on a Sunday. Okay, so it is different from our country. We can do whenever we want to, right? But this one is on a Sunday. If you take a look at the article, means is one of many Sundays in a year. All right, but we don't know how many Sundays a year, so you can do counting if you want to find out. So this should be one specific time in a year, but that is only one Sunday in a year, so we don't know exactly when. But in Switzerland, don't try that day. Okay, you might be uh, having problems or committing a crime. Okay. In Australia, it is illegal to walk on the right side of footpaths. So I presume that should be the left. Don't try the right, otherwise it is illegal. Then there will be some kind of punishment or fine, or maybe you have to stay in jail for sometimes. I don't know. It is against the law not to flush a public toilet, sorry, in Singapore. So flush just like pull a lever to make water go through a toilet. So usually when you go to the toilet, you have to flush. Otherwise, you will leave the vest right there. Okay. So in Singapore, it is illegal. All right, it's against the law. So don't try that. In Finland, taxi drivers must pay royalties if they play music for customers. So royalties right here refers to money that is paid to a musician. Okay, for example, you play someone's song, okay, for the customer, then you have to pay that money to the singer or the actor or the performer of that song. Okay, so that is in Finland. All right, so if we compare something like this in our country, it does not happen, right? We can do a lot of things, so it means that we are much better. I don't know, it depends on how you judge our country. Okay, so let's go to number 2, perspective. This is about listening, but of course we can do without. Listen to people make recommendations at a community meeting. Would you agree with these proposals? A proposal is just like it's a written research or letter that you write in order to propose something, all right, in order to ask for something. Okay, if they were made in your community, check your opinion. So there is community meeting notes. So we have 7, and we have 3 options: strongly agree, somewhat agree, disagree. Okay, so let's begin with the first. Cyclists should be required to wear helmets. What do you think? So should be required. I agree with this because it's considered to be transportation as well. It might cause some kind of problem or dangerous to the cyclist. Cyclist is a person who rides a bicycle. So I would say strongly agree. Okay, but you might come up with different ideas. It doesn't have to be my idea. Okay, pet owners shouldn't be allowed to walk dogs without leash. A leash is something like a chain or leather strap that used around the dog neck, and usually it has a name so that we know exactly the dog belongs to a certain person. Okay, so shouldn't be allowed to walk dogs without this. It's okay in our country, in our community, right? But in other country, probably, yeah, somewhat agree with this. People ought to be required to end parties at night. Yeah, it should be at midnight, or maybe earlier than midnight, right? Because usually people go to bed around 9 or even 10. They don't wait until midnight. So it should be earlier than midnight. Okay, strongly agree. Something has got to be done to stop littering. It's mething or dropping the trash around the ground, the floor, things like this. So agree with this. People mustn't be permitted to park motorcycles on the sidewalks. Not sure in other country, but in our country, you happen to see a lot, right? Yeah. So let's check. Strongly agree. Okay. Laws must be passed to control the noise from car alarms. Yeah, I agree with this. Sometimes make so much noise. Drivers should only be permitted to honk their horns to give the sound from the car in case of emergency. But in our country, a lot, right? A lot of people honk their horns, uh, not in a case of an emergency, something else, all right? But in this case, it should be permitted in a case of an emergency, all right? So um, strongly agree with this one, okay? But you can come up with different ideas once again, all right? Okay, so now let's go to next, number 3, giving recommendations and opinions. So in this lesson, everybody, we're going to learn modal, passive once again, but this time we focus on recommendations and opinions. So the forms are the same, not different, everybody. As you can see right here, we have modals, be, okay, and verb 3. All right, so the forms are the same from previous lesson because previous lesson we learned modal passive as well, but we used to describe the process. But this time we used to talk about recommendations and opinions. Okay, so we divide it into 2 parts. One is a good idea or just opinions, and the other one is necessity, or you can say recommendations. So let's begin with the first one, good idea, or you can say opinions. So when you think something is a good idea, then we have should and ought to. Okay, so you can use this too. All right, and then when you think something is absolutely necessary, important, then you can use must, have to, or has to. Okay, so once again, opinions or good ideas, you can use should or ought to. And something that is necessary or important, then you can use must or have to. All right, so nothing much, everybody. What you need to do is to take a look at the situation, whether that situation requires some kind of just only idea or requires some kind of important activity or something like law that we have to obey. All right, just like in this case, people must not be permitted to park motorcycles on the sidewalks because that is important. All right, that's why they use must right here. But let's take a look at the pet owners, sorry, shouldn't be allowed to walk dogs without leash. Okay, it's not really important, it's just only the idea. And then they use should. Okay, and you can also use or to. You don't need to care about the difference, because in these two are the same whenever we talk about this grammar point. Okay. All right, so if you have question about this grammar point, you can leave me a question in our Telegram group chat. Okay, so before I leave, I'd like you to do exercise 3A right here. Okay, complete the sentences positively or negatively. Okay, you have to take a look at the situation given. Choose a model that shows how strongly you feel about these issues. So you need to take a look at the situation carefully, everybody. All right, sometimes negative or positive, or it can be necessity or just only the opinion or good idea. Okay, so read each statement carefully and answer to the questions. All right, and don't worry, I will give you the answers later. Okay, everyone, that's it for today. And if you have questions, especially about the grammar points right here, leave me the question in our Telegram group chat and I will answer to your questions. Thank you so much. Goodbye.